I'm Al Holman with the Markus of Americus Project. Today's video is about the rules, what they look like. I talk about the Markus of Americus Rules, but I need to show you what one looks like. And what we're going to start out with was actually about debate, through some general information and then also some specifics. Kind of shows you how in-depth they are and aren't. Remember, it's not designed to take care of every situation in the world. These rules are there to keep us into our boundaries so that we know where things happen. So, again, helping us on this video is my niece Carly. Carly, take it away.
Thanks, Uncle Al. Okay, folks, let's get started with this example of the rules. We will use the debate section to see what they look like and the format. Along the way, Uncle Al will have a couple of points to help explain. The rules are grouped into activity areas and are followed by a brief explanation that includes examples as needed. Practitioners of the code strive to follow the rules while supporting others who promote a civil and active citizenry. It starts with the general rules and is followed by the specific rules for public debates. In all debates, the general rules are: practitioners of the code should always act with grace. In debate, in all its forms and locations, whether in public or private, followers of Markus do not encourage, support, or condone violence as a political tool. It is to be abhorred and opposed. Practitioners of the code always call this out and should address this transgression quickly. However, grace should guide your process of notification.
Grace is important, and it should guide how you react. When you're dealing with a knuckleheaded friend at the bar who's had a little too much to drink and gotten into a little bit of conversation, a little bit of forceful grace to extricate your friend is not a bad thing. Neither is understanding the grace that sometimes after a tragedy or a loss, people will be bellicose, and you may want to treat with different kind of grace that person compared to maybe the dude over the back fence who's just a little too jacked up on himself and wants to conquer the free world. Sometimes our society needs grace in those situations. Use common sense. It's vital as you use the grace. Carly, what's next?
Do not support or use the heckler's veto. Do not exploit children, the disabled, or ignorant people as political props or sympathy magnets. Do not reference any candidate's minor children in a negative or sarcastic form. Do not compare any living person to dictators, despots, and historical villains. Do not use catastrophist language. Do not accuse others of being a quote-unquote ist, racist, sexist, etc., etc.
Calling people names just because you think it's going to help you or it'll help your position is wrong. First of all the few racists you will ever find usually will tell you they're racist. A Klan guy will tell you he's in the Klan. Folks, these people will avail themselves. You don't have to call the other people that. It's just stupid and wrong. Racist, sexist, homophobe, whatever phobe, yada, yada, yada. You're just avoiding arguing about positions and ideas and concepts and platforms. It's not what we do. We don't treat other humans that way because we're just trying to make a point. And it sure doesn't help debate. So it's a waste of time. Stop it. Carly?
Now let's look at how Markus's rules handle a public debate. Public political debates will be conducted at communally agreed upon times and places. Practitioners of Markus support public debates that are focused on issues, candidates, legislation, and other similar contests of ideas. These should be as focused as possible and should always be conducted in public. They should allow for all sides to speak and should be made available for at least 3 days online before final or substantive action is taken.
It's important to understand getting everyone's side expressed does not mean everyone has to talk or should talk. You can't debate all night. You can't debate 3 days in a row and actually accomplish what you want because you'll lose people. But if there's 15 on one side and 4 on the other, try to have it 4 and 4, 4 and 8, 4 and 6. Maybe let one of these folks come back and rebut towards the end. But a chair, a leader, or a Markus member should always stand up and say, hey, we need to get just a little bit of balance here. And also, don't be afraid before a meeting starts, if you're the chair or the leader, to say, hey, folks, we've only got so much time. Looks like we have way more folks. We'll take everything online afterwards because we can do that by email or whatever so everyone can express an opinion. And then you can deal with it that way. But it's important to make sure those views are expressed. It is so important that sometimes a chair or a Markus member may have to step up and say, hey, now just remember the other side will say this, or they might have a good point here, or we need to at least consider their thinking or their feelings in those particular circumstances. That's also part of Markus, is making sure that in that circumstance we're forthright enough to say, hey, let's make sure everyone is heard and all the opinions are properly expressed. Carly, what's next?
That are held no more than 6 months out from the vote and no closer than 7 days before the vote. That are scheduled to start no later than 8 p.m. and no earlier than 9 a.m. That are formatted to require those speaking to start by identifying their relevant affiliations before making their point or asking a question.
In debate, campaigning, supporting an issue, it is always required under Markus to identify fully what your situation is, your affiliations, and if you got a real financial interest in the gig, or a family member has a financial interest in what's going on or being debated. Just to go to the school board meeting and say, I'm just a dad. Yeah, I'm a dad, and my uncle owns a construction company about this bond issue. Now, you can support the bond issue. Just say the truth. You know, maybe your uncle wants to come down and support it too. That's not a problem if he does an open bidding process. That's why we've gone through the years where we had all the laws that created the bidding laws and transparency. That's part of that. Markus members, followers, and practitioners identify their interests. Just to be upfront and just to be honest. It's not hard, and it really doesn't preclude you from giving an opinion. This is America. We're all entitled to make our point. Carly, what's next?
That are formatted to have public expression that doesn't detract from the debate. Practitioners of Marcus at a debate encourage all supporters at a debate to be respectful by limiting supportive applause to 5 seconds after a speaker, if allowed by event sponsor. All supporters to keep signage from obstructing the view of others, if allowed by event sponsor. All supporters to relinquish the mic or podium after making public comment.
It's important in debate in our society that it happened well, it happened in the appropriate time, which means fairly regularly. We have elections and issues that come up on a fairly regular basis, so this should not be novel to us, and we should be practiced at it. You may not go to every debate or listen to them, but you should go to some of them, and there's probably a few you're missing or not paying attention to. The last 4 innings of a ball game your team's blown out in, or the 35th cat video you've listened to, can be put aside. And you can spend a little time studying. Because within Marcus, that's part of your education. And within Marcus, we have rules for debate. Coming up, our next video will be about Marcus and public events for kids. We're going to talk about within Marcus, what are the things we feel that are acceptable within those bounds, and spoiler alert, we don't think it's a whole lot, and what's normal. It's campaign season, it's the fall, it's football. Can I wear my t-shirt to the game? Well, we'll talk about that when we talk on the rules next, and we talk about public events for kids. We also want you to look at our videos on YouTube and subscribe, and please share them and share them everywhere. Because this is early in the process, we need your help to become where you can, a paid subscriber. So come back to Locals for now to find out information. We'll also start getting on other platforms. I'm just an old dude trying to make the world a little bit better and trying to make America better through the Markus of Americus Project. Thank you for your support, or thank you for watching and listening. And we'll see you next time from the Markus of Americus Project. I'm Uncle Al. Thank you for watching.